So, for all of you out there who are concerned about the status of this gender war, I guess the talk of the town this week has been that the gender war is over, according to some people. And quite frankly, these are the same individuals who are hoteps in disguise. Yes, these are transformers. And not the Serena Williams kind of transformers, neither. These are actual transformers who pretend that they're for the manosphere, but in reality, these are hoteps in disguise. Hoteps who will push you to go back to the community and take on that single mother or that scraggle daggle, but they themselves go after the most supple, virginal kind of young black women who would be suitable enough for a young black man to take on, to date, to marry, and to procreate with. But alas, these individuals are the ones that want you to take the fall. They want you to take the dive after these same individuals likely caused the damage in the community, which is something that I believe who stated? Edward Henderson, I think. He was the one who stated that a lot of these simps are likely the former Pookies and Ray Rays who feel guilt and remorse, well, remorse if you want to call it, about their little damages that they've done, screwing the minds of these black women up to the point in which they want everybody else to help them clean it up in the best case scenario, or worse, have everybody else but them clean the mess. Well, you know where we stand on this channel when it comes to cleaning the community, but that isn't what this video is about. This video is about how I personally fight the gender war. And quite frankly, my opinion, if you can't tell by now, is that no, we're not done with the gender war. Best case scenario, we are in the eye of the storm. Or worst case scenario, we're just getting started. We're just getting warmed up. As far as how I fight the gender war, in Georgia has another touchdown, so it is now 20-14 Georgia in this Georgia-Florida game. I'm not rooting for anyone in particular, but for all of you college football guys out there, you all should know that the Georgia-Florida game is a big rivalry, but let me not get too distracted. As far as this gender war itself, yeah, it's not over. Yes, we still have a long way until we settle and deal with a lot of the crap that a lot of people talk about. Now, I personally have not been too affected by a lot of the chicanery that goes on with the opposite gender. But I credit that a lot to me being very intuitive and knowing what kind of women to deal with. Now, have I been perfect? Absolutely not. And you know what? I actually should list this as one of the ways in which I fight the gender war. So number one, the way I fight the gender war is to choose the right women. A lot of you people out there who want to say, well, women have been doing this and women did that and women done did this to me and took all my money. And I'm living on this couch in my friend's house and I don't even have my dog anymore. My kids hate me. My wife, she left me for the poo boy, and all I got is this phone, which I'll post on man websites and MGTOW websites, talking about F women this and F women that, while fapping to X videos every night, specifically of Asian on whites, because if I can't get my women, anyway. But a lot of these people out here, and also other individuals who worship at the altar of big booties and Instagram looking thoughts. You guys seriously think that the most glam looking chicks will end up being the best chicks for you? Seriously? You guys act like teenagers. You guys act as if you play Fortnite. That's how young and dumb some of you guys act. And these are people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. I'm not saying I pick the best women whatsoever or I have the most intuition out of all of you guys, but looking at some of your records, I wonder. And I'm not talking about those who made an innocuous mistake of getting married early or something like that because that's what they were taught, but they got burnt. And yeah, they tried doing the right thing and they end up getting kicked in the ass. This isn't towards you guys. I get it. You probably had parents who had successful marriages or have successful marriages, but this is a new age, this is a new era, and we need to operate as such. Things are always in flux. Number 2, how I fight the gender war, you ask. Well, that fight for me comes through silence, through pure silence. And that pure silence comes from genuine neutrality and indifference. How can I manage that, you may ask? Well, continue listening on the reasons. The second way I fight the gender war, or rather should I say the first way, the second way how I fight this and why I maintain my sense of neutrality via silence, is that a person like myself will not be as vulnerable to the attacks of the opposition. You have those who valiantly fight in the gender war, many individuals who have done so many things for their fellow man, regardless of race. And we have to tip our hats to them, all of them. They're too long a list to name, but we have seen the results and the sacrifices they have made, whether it's through mild sacrifices of getting videos and their channel flagged down, or quite frankly, major sacrifices, including being fired from their jobs, having their livelihoods threatened, even being banned from countries. And the most notable example I can point out is One Rushfi. One Rushfi, who has faced banning from Canada, I believe, and even with his recent book Game, which from my understanding is more of a traditional conservative kind of book instead of a PUA kind of thing. Apparently not a week later, it was banned off Amazon. And trust me, I bet you that there are books that are just as salacious, if not worse. But anyway, a person like myself, I care not really to deal with the slings and arrows from those in the opposition. And that's why it's important to help those who are willing to go in the trenches, who are willing to get into the muck and mire. There are those who we need who want to be active fighters on our behalf. And I tip my hat off to them. Now, even though I myself may fight in a different way, in a way more neutral, I will not stand in the way of those who will actively fight on the behalf of men. And if it moves your heart, fund these guys, help these guys, support these guys in any way you can. 2, we all know that in this gender war, the main thing that the opposition wants, it isn't love, it isn't marriage, unless it's for money. And even then, they don't want money as much. Yes, a lot of them are freaking out because their life insurance, their bailout plan is disappearing slowly but surely, given how many guys get a hold of Red Pill content. But the one thing they want the most is your attention. And quite frankly, that is because a lot of the women on here are just as sexually frustrated as the men who complain. There are plenty of alphas who call out female dishonesty and hypocrisy. But we have to admit that there are plenty of betas who hide under being Red Pill, MRA, especially MGTOW. Oh my goodness, don't get me started on that. But there are a lot of these guys who say they don't want to deal with women, but in reality, a lot of them just hide their sexual frustration with quote-unquote red pill knowledge, MGTOW content. Oh man, dude, don't get me, I'll get on those guys later. But yeah, the opposite of love isn't hate, but it's indifference. And with that indifference, that is what drives the opposition to insanity. And that actually helps you get your point across in punishing their bad behavior. Because if you're punishing their behavior by giving them attention, any attention is better than no attention, even negative attention. And you think that barking them down and telling them off and giving them the middle finger and telling them, you're a bunch of hoes and bitches and sluts and meh. You think that's going to really dissuade them from continuing their bad activity according to you? If anything, as we've seen, they're going to double down. The fourth thing, I should say, why or how I fight the gender war, why I use the tactic that I use in the gender war, is that for a group, you need to force them to compensate and come to the table and cooperate. Is that the group you really want at your side? I mean, let's face facts. You have individuals who see it that the only way that you can get women to cooperate at this point is by basically beating them into submission, forcing them into submission, holding them hostage in any sort of way into submission. And there is a point in assertiveness and asserting your power and showing people that you are not here to mess around, that you mean business. But as far as taking it to the point of threatening them physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, if you need to do that in order to prove your point, in order to get a group of women to submit, in my opinion, it's not worth it. It's not worth actively fighting and going after these women who don't want to cooperate, half of which are just as sexually frustrated as you are, because half of them don't look, especially those who talk trash on the internet, half of them just, they're basically in the same SMV scale as a lot of these beta males who hide under the guise of red pill, rage, and whatever. But these people, if you have to do all this to fight them, it's not worth it, man. It completely isn't. And a lot of people are concerned about how, well, if you're going to go this headstrong in order to get them back to cooperating, then what does that say about the younger women? What would the younger women think? Well, no, I'm not concerned about that. Mainly because, and this is the one part in which I will somewhat go to the side of these individuals who want to be more or less extreme. Not in their actions per se, but I will say this as a devil's advocate. Whatever women want you, they'll find a way to be with you. Whenever women don't want you or are only going to be with you begrudgingly, those will be the ones who will leave. In which, in either case, see you. Go. You weren't going to be loyal to your men anyway. What's the point of you being around? You were just going to either bet winch or sell out or swirl or whatever. Or if you were going to stick around, you're just going to be begrudgingly do so, and you're just gonna have all sorts of attitudes and like, I ain't doing this, and try to make the man's life a living hell until he dies from stress, mostly caused by you. No, we don't need those kind of people on our side. We don't need those kind of women. Those who want to be here will find a way to be here. The two best examples I can refer are Islam, where we all know how the women are treated, even in some cases which would be considered abuse. But Islam, for some reason, doesn't have a problem in keeping women into the religion. Another one, which isn't as extreme, but it is very fundamental and very pro-male, is Mormonism. I have a first-hand experience on how Mormons deal with women. And to the outside eye, a lot of it would be considered sexist. But quite frankly, Mormonism has no problem in keeping women, and I'm talking about good women, cute women, to hot women, in their ranks, even to the point of having them being virgins until marriage. And in many cases, marrying the kind of guys where if you were to see them and on the look scale, you would question, how did this guy who, if he wasn't a Mormon, would otherwise be a MGTOW, get with this kind of chick who, where if she wasn't a Mormon, she would be a freaking a model or star or another kind of star, bound chicka wow wow. No, women will find the way to be with men, the men that they want. The fifth way, and the reason why I fight the way that I do in this gender war, is that some men aren't worth defending. You have these men, these beta cucks, and these truly beta males who will, instead of fighting and defending their fellow man, They want to act like they're down with the cause, but in reality, these guys are as gynocentric as the women they complain about. You know which ones I'm talking about. The same guys who complain about women even though they've sworn off women, and yeah, if you listen to their videos, you will quickly realize why they can't get women. These are the guys that sound like this, and I am, yes, you guys are hearing me. I am speaking from FEMA District number 17, and this is Virgin Towel Headquarters Inn. And today we're going to talk about the conditions of how you can bring back traditionalism, even though I am not a traditionalist. And this is how you're going to bring it back, even though I don't love women, because traditionalism is gynocentrism 0.5. But we need to focus on the reasons, because some of you out there may want a traditional family one day. And some of you might be just one good BJ away from going back to being blue pill, but we are not blue pill here. We are red pill, and us red pill men do not care about these women. We don't love those hoes, as the Negro rappers would say. But yeah, if you're going to bring back traditionalism, the women's are going to need to cook and clean and work. They're going to need to work too. I'm not feeding them anymore. That is traditionalism. Traditionalism kept them in the house and made men work in steel mills and factories. But no, we're going to have the women work because they are independent and they wanted the laws, even though I don't know why we gave them the right to vote. But you need to cook, you need to clean. That's after you come home from work. And then when I get home, you need to bow at my knees, and in the words of DX, you need to suck it. You need to suck it, and suck it real good. Don't suck it before. The women will need to go back to the kitchen, and then they need to go back to the bedroom, and they need to be my personal sex slave, in which they need to bore all my great Aryan babies, even if she is Asian or Latina, because I can't get a white woman to save my freaking life, which is why I'm mad at black men who date outside their race, even if they date another minority woman. That is what it's going to take in order for us to go back to the traditionalism, even though we at Virgin Towel Headquarters do not care. We don't care about those women.
By the way, go to my Patreon page if you want to hear the unedited version and how I really feel about women. But we do not need women. If they want to end this war, we need them to submit and submit. I mean, letting me, hit them, even if I have a bad day at work, because the girl who I saw, who was the cutest girl, she had a black boyfriend, and that made me mad because of my position in America should be like the top and the highest, and all the girls should want me because of we was Vikings. So that's all I have for this episode of MGTOW Headquarters. Follow me on BitChute and all these other obscure social media websites where it is unregulated and unmonitored by the liberal elitist globalist. What? You saw a bunch of hardcore rightist content there. We are not racist. We are totally not racist. My wife is Asian because she submits the white guys. And you know how those Asian are with the white guys, man. So I can't be racist, but I mean, my daughter, she's dating a black guy. Oh no, I need to call the cops on him.
That's the reason why I don't defend a lot of these guys. I don't. That's what you're gonna have to deal with, and even with the so-called black gender war guys, yeah, there are some who are valiant, and some who I will agree to, even though they are more active, they are more boots on the ground, Call of Duty style, rah rah rah, screw this woman, blah blah blah, and that's the other reason. Number 6, the reason why I fight this gender war and how I fight this gender war is that the fact that you guys are making all this rah rah noise shows that you still care. You still care. You guys still care. Which, here's the thing. Here's the beauty where I sit in my place. I don't care at all. I've gone to the point of being indifferent, of being neutral, of just being out of it. At this point, you guys can wreck yourselves. You guys can go at it with each other. But the beauty of not caring is the beauty of being free. And when you're truly free, you can achieve great things. As far as that's concerned, a lot of you guys still care, and that's the problem. A lot of you guys still want that Nubian big booty queen to just bounce up and down on you all hours of the day and night. A lot of you guys won't do the work it takes, but let's face facts. A lot of you guys out there still care. You just do. I can't say you're right or wrong for caring, but caring is not sharing, at least when it deals with the opposite sex. And caring comes at a cost that we all know men go through. We've all seen examples of it on a daily basis. I'm not trying to go through that cost. I'm not even trying to play the game. Am I a MGTOW? No. Do not lump me in with that group because I actually can get some. That's how I fight this gender war. And before I go, when you truly don't care, when you're truly indifferent, that is when you are truly free. And when you're truly free, that is when you can achieve greatness. Everyone else out there, always bet on X.